Hello, mates. It's Angus Quill MacGregor wishing you a happy Halloween, or as we call it where I'm from in Balquador, Perthshire, up in the beloved Scottish Highlands, Samhain. Now, Samhain's very important. We make big bonfires. It's serious business, you know. Oh, there's plenty of dancing and singing, but it's all about keeping the bad spirits away. Oh, the fair folk, as the fairies like to be called, they'll keep them away, and any kind of other dark nasties. Why, the children dance around and they carve turnips, which we call neeps. Jack-o'-neeps is where your jack-o'-lanterns come from. The tribal elders, the elders of our clans, they tell stories of fallen Scottish warriors that battled demons down in the underworld. Now, being that today is a special day, being Samhain, it's a day of a bit of magic. I'm able to do something that I wouldn't normally be able to do, and that's read you a poem by Scotland's foremost poet, Robert Burns. Now, Burns was after my time. He died in a place that's near and dear to my heart, and it's called Dumfries in Galloway, actually near the kirk there in Irongray. Joey, who's my editor, he helped me design a game room for them, an escape room. So this is for Arden Holiday Cottage. So I hope you have your mead. I have this mead here. It's a Jack o' Hive mead by Misty Mountain Meadery. My good friends there, Ricky and Bobby, they're working really hard at the Ravenwood Fair over in Virginia Colony. We were there this time last year. Couldn't make it this year because we're doing this fun mermaid technology stuff, but thinking of all my friends who will be cracking this bottle open later. So I hope you have some mead or other good spirits. Now, if you don't know Tam o' Shanter, it's my kind of poem. It's written in a proper Scottish brogue, you know. Might be a bit hard to follow, but that encourages you to follow up when I'm done. Get a copy of the poem and do some reading on your own. So it goes on for about 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to jump in right here. Right? It's a good Samhain ghost story. When Chapman Billies leave the street and drouthy neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late and folk begin to tack the gate, while we sit bousing at the nappy and getting food uncool and happy, we think nae on the lang Scott miles, the mosses water slaps and stiles that lie between us and our hame, where sits our dusky sullen dame, gathering her brows like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. Sure, another's day when we're out at the pub or the tavern, tying one on, our ladies are at home getting annoyed. 'Tis truth and honest Tam o' Shanter, he's the hero of our story, as he frae air as night did canter, old air where ne'er a town surpasses for honest men and bonny lasses. O Tam, hadst thou but been sae wise as ta'en thy ain wife Kate's advice, she told thee well they was a skellum, a blithering, blustin', drunken blellum, that frae November till October, aye market day was not thy sober. That ilka melder with the miller, that sat as lang as thou had siller, that every naig was caed the shoe on, the smith in thee gat roaring few on, that at the Lord's house, e'en on Sunday, thou drank with Kirkton Jean till Monday. She prophesied that late or soon they would be found deep drowned in Doon, or catch with warlocks in the murk, by always old haunted kirk. Ah, gentle dames, it gareth me great to think how mony counsel sweet, how mony lengthened sage advices the husband frae the wife despises. But to our tale, as market night, Tam had got planted unca right, fast by an ingle bleezing finely, with reaming swats had drank divinely, and at his elbow Salter Johnny, his ancient thrusty drouthy crony. Tam loaded him like a vera brither. They had been full for weeks together. The night drave on with sangs and clatter. Oi, my paper's here. And aye, the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with secret favour sweet and precious. The Souter told his queerest stories, the landlord's laugh was ready chorus, the storm without mere rare and rustle. Tam did nae mind the storm a whistle, for now Tam's good and drunk and he's trying to get home to his wife Kate. Care mad to see a man sae happy, drowned himself among the nappy, as beans flee hame with lades of treasure, the minutes wing their way with pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, all the ills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppy spread, you sees the flowerish bloom is shed, or like the snowfalls in the river, a moment white that melts forever. Or like the borealis rays that flit ere you can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, vanishing amidst the storm. Nae man can tether time nor tide, the hour approaches, Tam maun ride. That hour o' night's black arch the keystin, that dreary hour he mounts his beast in, and sick a night he tacks the road in, and ne'er poor sinner was abroad in. The wind blew as 'twad blown its last, the rattling showers rose on the blast, the speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep, and lang the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand, the deil had business on his hand. Will mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better and never lifted leg. Tam skelp it on through dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst holding fast his good blue bonnet, while crooning o'er some old Scots sonnet, whilst glowering round with prudent cares, lest boggles catch him unawares. Kirkalloway was drawing nigh, where geese and hoolits nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where in the snaw the chapmen smored, the past the Burks and Michael Stain, where drunken Carley's neck did break, and through the winds and by the cairn, where hunters found the murdered bairn, and near the thorn aboon the well, where Mungo's mither hanged hersel. Before Doon pours all his floods, the Dublin storm roars through the woods, the lightnings flash from pole to pole, near and more near the thunders roll. When glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirkalloway seemed in a blaze. Thou ilka bore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barleycorn, what dangers thou canst make us scorn. With Tiffany we fear nae evil, with Ushka Bay we'll face the devil. The swat say reamed in Tammy's noodle, fair play he cared, ne'er dales a boddle. But Maggie stood right sair astonished, die by the heel and hand admonished. She ventured forward on the light, and wow, Tam saw an uncouth sight. Warlocks and witches in a dance, nae cotillion bred new frae France, but hornpipes, jigs, straths, sprays, and reels put life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, there sat old Nick in shape a beast, a towsy tight, black, grim and large, to guy them music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and got them curl, till roof and rafters a did dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses that shawed the dead in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrap slight, each in its cold hand held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the helly table a murderer's banes and gibbet arms, 'twas spalung wee on christened barons. A thief new cutted frae the rope, with his last gasp he did gab and gape. 5 helmet-hawks with blood red rusted, 5 scimitars with murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled, whom his aged son o' life bereft, the grey hairs yet stack to the heft. A bit of a drink here. Sowing, folks. With mair a horrible and awful, which e'en to name wad be unlawful. As Tammy glowered, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they cleek it, till ilka carlin swat and reek it, and cussed her duties to the work, and linked it at her in her sark. Now Tam, oh Tam, had the Albin queens a plumpin' strappin' in their teens, their socks instead of creshy flannin, been Snow White 700 linen, their breeks o' mine only pair, that ance were plush in good blue hair. I wi' hae gien them off-out herdies, for I blink o' the bonny birdies. But withered bedlams old and droll, ring woody hags wad Spain a foal, loupin' and flingin' on a crummock. I wonder didn't I turn their stomach. But Tam ken what was fou o' brawly, there was I winsome wench and Wally, that night enlisted in the corps lying after kenned on Carrickshore, for mony a beast to dead she shot, and perish mony a bony boat, and shook baith Michael Corn and Bear, and kept the countryside in fair. Her Cutty Sark a paisley harn, that wall lassie she had worn, in longitude though sorely scanty, it was best and she was vaunty. A little ken thy reverend granny, that sark she caught for her wee nanny, with tuppence Scots, 'twas her riches, which ever graced a dance of witches. But hear me muse, my wong Sir Cower, Sir flights are far beyond her power, to sing how Nanny lappin' flying, and supple jad she was in strang, how Tam stood like een bewitched, and thought his very een enriched. And even Satan glowered and fidged full fain, and hotched and blew with might and main. Till first say caper sign another, Tam tint his reason altogether, and rose at "Well done, Cutty Sark!" And in an instant all was dark, and scarcely had his Maggie rallied, when out the hellish legion sallied. As bees biz out with angry fyke, when plundering herds assail their bike, as open pushes mortal foes, when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd, when catch a thief resounds out loud, so Maggie runs, the witches follow, with moany and eldred screech and hollow. Ah Tam, thou get thy faring, in hell there roastly like a herring, in vain thy Kate a wayside coming, Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do thy speedy utmost, Meg, and win the keystone of the brig. There at them thou thy tail may toss, a running stream they dare nae cross. But ere the keystone she could make, the faint a tail she had to shake, for Nanny far before the rest hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle, but little wist she's Maggie's mettle. As spring brought aff her master hell, but left behind her ain grey tail, the carlin caught her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now what this tale of truth shall read, like man and mother or son, take heed. Whene'er to drink ye are inclined, or Cutty Sarks run in your mind, think ye may buy the joys o' dare, remember Tam o' Shanter's mare. So there you have it, Robert Burns' Tam o' Shanter. Now, all you mariners and sea folk out there, you may have heard of the famous ship, the Cutty Sark. Well, that comes from that dress that that wee lady was wearing in Tam o' Shanter. So, we're going to be back later. Well, Joey and his wee lass will be back later. They'll be reciting Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, also a piece after my time, then having some kind of Halloween party. So I was very happy to see you today on Halloween, Samhain, again for us Scottish folk, us Celtic folk. I wish you all well. I know you got some big interesting days coming up in the American colonies. As I always say, ask for more democracy in your democracy, whatever that happens to mean for you. And now, here in my kilt in Sporen, I'd like to make a wee bit of a toast. Here it is. May God love us, and may all those who know us love us as well. And if they don't love us, may God turn their hearts. And if he can't turn their hearts, well then let him turn their ankles, so that we may know them by their limping. So I wish you as few limping people as possible in your life. Cheers, me mates, and I'll talk to you soon.